Welcome. This is the Bird's Eye View, and I am here with Mr. Crow as always.
Hey, everybody.
And today we came across an article that was like a scientific breakthrough, and it is about type 1 diabetes. So when Crow and I were talking, we're like, what's the difference between type 1 and type 2? And we were like, I don't know. So we'll start with
So we
that
looked it
first.
up like any normal ordinary guy would.
Okay, so what we discovered is type 1 diabetes is the least common type.
Yes.
And it is where your pancreas does not make enough insulin to control your blood sugar levels.
Yep.
Okay.
So you don't make enough to keep things regulated inside your body.
Right. And type
That's type
2
1.
is the more common type, that is where your cells are resistant to the insulin that your pancreas creates. So your
Yes.
pancreas creates more and more and more and more and more. Eventually it can't keep up because it's trying to get your cells to respond. Type 2 usually happens in people over 45 and is the more common type.
Yep.
Okay.
There are more than we found out that it was common. It's more common. Yeah. There's over 200,000 a year in the U.S.
It says 34 million Americans have diabetes, about 1 in 10, and approximately 90 to 95% of them have type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
Okay. So we're going to talk about type 1 diabetes. So because this is where most often this is children's and teens and young adults, and this is where it's like super devastating because you end up with, a young healthy child that becomes a teen and is supposed to be super active and doing all this other stuff, and then they get struck with this debilitating disease. It can be managed, but it's kind of a pain.
It's very life-threatening, is what I was reading too, is because your insulin is just all over the charts. It can happen in the middle of the night where you can possibly die in your sleep because you don't have enough insulin. And it was an interesting stuff to find out.
Um,
I'm no doctor by any means now, but you could call Dr. Duck.
yeah, definitely not. Definitely, definitely read up and ask your doctor. We are not medical professionals.
Yeah.
We are just Googling like any other dumbass that doesn't know shit about medicine.
That's
So,
so true.
so, so anyway, what brought this on was this article, a cure for type 1 diabetes, maybe, but it seems to have worked in at least one person already. And
Yes.
so this Brian Shelton,
Yep.
he basically it was causing him to pass out. He ended up crashing his motorcycle and
Yeah, he crashed into a wall.
and he had to retire from the postal service. And he's like 57,
Yeah.
And
He passed out in front of somebody's house delivering their mail. It's like people were like, "Okay, enough's enough. You need to retire."
and they kind of gave up finding like a treatment or finding a cure or anything. They just kind of were just like, okay, whatever, this is what it is. But on June 29th, Brian Shelton got an infusion of cells grown from stem cells, but just like the insulin producing pancreas cells that his body lacked. So remember, this is type 1 where your pancreas doesn't create enough insulin.
Mm-hmm.
And so the person that developed this, for whatever reason, it doesn't say his name,
No, it
but
never says his name.
but
No.
he spent decades developing this because of his baby son and his then teenage daughter ended up with the disease. And so he kind of made his life mission to make them to help them have a better life.
I think he was if I remember right, he was already kind of in the medical field. I think he was
Yeah,
a
I'm sure.
pediatrician, and yeah, his son, who was really young, started having some serious issues, and then later on, his daughter started experiencing the same issues, and yeah, he just decided to change everything and dedicate his life to this, I guess.
So there's all these quotes from all these doctors, and after it says, and who was not involved in the research. So it's the actual
Yeah,
person that was, like, it doesn't say his name or anywhere that I
never.
can see in here. It's got all these other doctors, blah blah blah, and or no, maybe wait, is the Doug okay? And it all started with a 30-year quest of a Harvard University biologist, Doug Melton.
Maybe that's him. Yeah, see, I missed that.
Oh, see, I thought that was. Oh no no, okay, it is okay. So Doug Melton. Okay, so this is I got that backwards when I was saying. Okay, so Melton never thought much about diabetes until his 6-month-old baby boy Sam began shaking and vomiting and panting. He was so sick, and the pediatricians didn't know what else to do.
Yeah,
So, so the disease, which occurs in the body's immune system, destroys the insulin secreting islet cells, the pancreas. Often starts around age 13 or 14, unlike the
hmm,
more okay. So basically, this guy made it his life mission to make his kids better. Doug Melton,
yep,
and so at at age 64, Shelton got this infusion of cells, and now his body automatically controls its insulin and blood sugar levels. He may be the first person cured of the disease with a new treatment that experts are daring to hope may become for many as 1.5 million Americans suffering from type 1 diabetes. Okay,
that'd be amazing.
right. So, where? Okay, so his company SEMA was founded in 2014, a mix of Sam and Emma's name. One challenge was to figure out how to grow the islet cells. I don't islet cells. ISLET, whatever. In large quantities, a method others could repeat. So just to figure out how to grow this took this guy 5 years.
Yeah, yeah, and he's grown it from stem cells. Yeah,
The company, a cell and gene therapy expert, tested the cells in mice and rats, showing they function well and cured diabetes in the rodents. At that point, the next step was clinical trials in patients. Everything had to be done exactly to the standards of Food and Drug Administration. Thousands of pages of documents prepared for clinical trials. In
yeah.
April
This was all for the.
2019.
Is this all for the approval too?
Yeah.
Just to try to get things moving forward. Prove that your thought, your theory, and your tests are working.
They talk about
They need to get Fauci on this one. He'd be able to go through real quick.
less than 2 years after SEMA was acquired, the FDA allowed Vertex to begin clinical trials with Shelton. So he ended up getting taken over or sold, or he
Yeah,
probably
whatever
ran
it is.
out of money and needed more money to get it done. But
Yeah.
I was looking for a spot in here where it talks about how long it would take.
How long it would take to produce?
No, how long it would take for them for the trial. I just found it a little bit ago.
Oh, the uh
Because okay, so the trick is you get the trial approved, And then you have to go through all of the trial and then get the documents to get the treatment approved.
The study is continuing and will take 5 years,
There you go.
involving 17 people with severe cases of type 1 diabetes. It is not intended as a treatment for the more common type 2.
All right, so 5 years it's going to take the trials to get this approved.
Yep.
And then you think, well, man, the COOF was done in like 8 months or something, right? That went to FDA approval, emergency approval, and now everybody's using it inside of 8 months. But yet you have this type 1 diabetes cure, a cure, not a treatment, a
Not a
cure, and that's going to take us 5 years to get anybody access to that. Yeah, I definitely think they need flipping Fauci on this one. Flip-flopping Fauci.
Yeah.
Need to get flip-flopping Fauci on this one to get this emergency approval to get this used. I mean, if it could... Here's my thing is... if I'm a parent and my kid is ravaged by type 1 diabetes, I'm not sure I really care of the super long-term effects if this is a possible cure.
Well, and that's the thing I'm starting to think too, is if this is a cure for type 1, this gives them a possibility at a whatever we call a normal life at teenage years. It probably doesn't reduce their risk of type 2. So when they turn 45, they're going to have to go through that problem as well. But to help them get through this,
Well, see, here's the thing is I think people that when they're young have major health issues tend to want to lead healthier lifestyles to help defeat whatever their early issues were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking if you were able to cure somebody's type 1 diabetes, they may be on the track to eat healthy and exercise and never develop type 2.
Correct. Yeah.
Not that type 2 is solely responsible for your own eating habits, but
No.
if you're eating healthy, you're eating right, and you're exercising, the risk factors are lower. And if you do develop it, you're already on the track to managing type 2 diabetes anyway, because that's basically what they do is they put you on a diet and
Yeah.
stuff, so to regulate your blood sugars and stuff like that. But this just, to me, this is really neat because this guy made it his mission to do something because it affected his family, and he may have gotten to the point where he's successful.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I wonder about all the people out there working on, these diseases like, the cancer or the super rare ones that we don't even know the names of that, are like 1 in 10,000 or whatever, 1 in 100 million or whatever that is. That I wonder how many of those people are like this guy, and it directly affected me or my family, and so therefore I'm going to try to do this.
Yeah, they're making it a lifelong mission.
Yeah, instead of the other one where it's like, hey, I need a job and this is what I want to do, right? I think those are your two sides. But I feel like most of those people would be in Merton's category of it was about my family and that's how I started it.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing thing if you can eradicate type 1 diabetes. That could be a huge thing for millions of kids, 35 million Americans.
Yeah, that's a ton.
That's a lot. That's really neat.
To give them that, I think too, how you're thinking too, is to give them that ability to change their lifestyle. They know that what it's been like. Some of them are going to, well, there's going to be quite a few that they've lived with it for a couple years. They know they have the rituals and they already know what they're supposed to do. And having this brought to them and letting them live that normal lifestyle, if you will, they're going to probably continue saying, "Oh heck yeah, I want this to. I don't want to go back down that road. I don't want to type 2. I know I'm at high risk, so I'm going to do the right thing here."
And I tell you, all I can keep thinking about is my wife went back to work as a phlebotomist, right? And the other day she had to like draw from a baby, and she says it's really nerve wracking. Poking a little baby's foot and making him bleed and stuff. And I was like, 6 months old with type 1 diabetes, having to stick them and check their blood and then stick them again with it. As a parent, I can't even imagine the stress or pain in your heart every time that you would have to do something like that. And and then my girls are 5, but to have to do this to them all the time and
All the
dude,
time.
that's just unbearable as a parent. And so something like this can completely change that. And maybe that goes away forever for these little kids that never had a choice and never had a chance to live without that kind of annoyance or that just, I just can't imagine having to stick the twins all the time just to check their blood pressure.
Well, and then that's the hard part too. Could you imagine you basically are always monitoring them too as they're running
Yeah.
around. Are they at that normal? Are they doing normal things where they're running around playing hide and go seek or whatever, Or are they now laying on the couch? Have you noticed that they're a little more tired? It's like you have to pay attention to all this because that's a sign that the sugar's low or the sugar's too
So,
high. So much. Yeah, and that's just yeah, that's
so
monitoring
let
constant.
me bring an expert in here. So, type 1 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he has a little monitor on his arm,
Correct.
right? It's permanently attached to his arm.
No,
No.
No.
it's a sticky. It sticks onto his arm. It's waterproof.
Right, come here. It sticks
It's like
onto
a
his arm and
thumbtack.
it's waterproof.
Yes.
Okay.
I've always understood
So
it
they
as like a
can
thumbtack.
monitor it through their phone. So it has
So-
Yeah.
this, or they can just go up and scan it and read it, and they can find his numbers. So if he's sleeping during the night and his blood sugar goes down or whatever, he has snacks in his room, and it alerts him or his parents to get up and help him. Otherwise, they would have to keep getting up and checking on him throughout the night.
Now, at what age can you put one of those on?
I'm not sure. He is 9.
So, okay, somewhere around 7, 8, or 9 or something like that. All right, thank you. All right, so there you go. Expert commentary by Miss Warduck there. So he's got a little monitor thing that okay, but still that has to puncture your skin hum somehow because it's got to monitor your blood, right?
Yeah, it's I have 2 coworkers who have those. And it sits just right there on their shoulder. Well, he has his on his shoulder and yeah, it's kind of just a little prick. It's got to monitor the blood, but it never alerts him if things are different. All it does is it makes it so where he doesn't need to prick his finger all the time to test. Like he can test anytime he wants. He just takes his phone and he just does that.
Yeah, I think what she was showing us is on the app. You can set an alert, and so it alerts the parents, the one that they have, the particular one that they have. So,
oh, that'd be nice though.
Right. So anyway, but this could do away with all that, take all that burden off of the kids, and just because damn, dude, I can't just stick in the kids all the time. It's just something that just doesn't need to happen. That's just ugly. So
that would be. That's the tough part, that prick.
So hopefully Mr. Merton's here, and I guess, like I said, why is this taking 5 years? I think this is the kind of stuff to where it should be like, hey, if you want to try it and be part of the trial, sign all these waivers and we'll just give it to you. I mean, because what's the worst case that's going to happen is, like, I don't really see the drawbacks of any of this, right? Not like the COOF stuff where, you know,
Yeah.
like doesn't work, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, this seems like the kind of stuff that should be fast tracked, not the other kind of stuff. But
Yeah. I kind of agree with this one. It needs to be faster.
it does. 5 years seems like way too long for something that could change kids' lives like that.
Yeah. And not to mention just how many people could we possibly lose due to it in the next 5 years that you could have saved.
True. Very true.
So yeah, feels like this one needs to be a little bit more fast tracked.
All right.
I'm excited to see somebody did this. This is amazing. I wish and hope that it gets a little bit more coverage and becomes a little bit more well known. But I'm very hopeful. I'm excited to hear.
All right, let's chalk one up for science, because it looks like science has done something extraordinary, and
Yes.
my applaud to Douglas Merton.
Yep. Congratulations. That's awesome.
All right, with that,
And also
though, we're out of here for this episode. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, help us get seen. But with that, we're out of here for now.
See you, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
Much love all.